Jeffrey doesn't realize why he can't pay attention. His mind wanders all the time. He gets irrelevant thoughts so he can't focus. Why is Jeffrey like this? Because of overstimulation. Jeffrey watches hyper-stimulant content like Hamza's old videos. He scrolls on TikTok and Instagram. He opens 5 tabs when he's on Pornhub. Come on, Jeffrey. That's no way to live. Adonis lives such a beautiful, peaceful, and natural life. He spends his days outdoors in nature amongst his brothers. That is a beautiful way to live, and yet Adonis notices the young men, so many young men who are totally consumed by modern technology. And it's sad. It's scary. Adonis needs you to give up these vices and become stronger so that the whole tribe can prosper. Let me know if you can relate to this. When I was in school, in high school, I wanted to do good. I really wanted to get good grades. You know, there's a lot of pressure that's the thing. Okay, get good grades. That's the whole point. You're in school. Your parents are yelling at you and, you know, getting a bit aggressive. Your teachers shout at you and everything. You want to get good grades. You want to study. You want to be able to perform well. And I just couldn't focus. So imagine being in class, your teacher's just, you know, talking, it's 30 minutes into the class. You can't even listen to them because your brain is just thinking about other things. And the same with a book. The same with this video right now. Be honest, have you already scrolled down to the comments? Have you maybe checked your phone or a different tab? Or has your brain just thought of some kind of irrelevant thoughts as you've been listening to me speak? That's an unacceptable way to live. It's the normal way to live, so it seems fine, but living like an average person has never been your goal anyway. The average person can't focus. Because of that, they don't perform well in school. They don't perform well in their careers. They're like average employees who make just enough money, but always have that sense of like discomfort, maybe the possibility of getting fired, don't really get chosen for promotions. Maybe they want to start a business, but they just can't seem to like do the work by themselves. That's very difficult. It's a very sad existence being average and mediocre. And I truly think that the number one thing that keeps people stuck in that kind of life is overstimulation, just numbing themselves with modern technology. So how do we actually overstimulate ourselves? It's through social media, porn, video games. When you think about how stimulating these things are, think about social media, Instagram, TikTok, ass everywhere, so much fucking ass. Or you go onto Instagram and there's high value men, successful guys, and that makes you feel kind of shit. So your brain gets hooked onto these platforms. It feels very important for you to stay on these platforms, to see what these people are doing with their lives, because that's like, you know, like our brain has this kind of like evolutionary trait which really wants to know about people around us, especially successful, attractive people. And so you're addicted to these platforms. You keep on scrolling and every second there's like a new piece of information. That fucks up your brain. That trains your brain to be able to hold its attention for 1 second. Because for 1 second we're gonna look at this picture of ass, then we scroll, and you know, you scroll like it's fucking nothing, and the next second, oh look, there's more ass, so now we need to focus on this, and the next second, oh look, here's a guy with muscle, oh look, here's Hamza and he's shirtless and he's doing the eyebrow thing again. You train your brain to be able to focus for literally a second when you use these platforms. Because of that, you then struggle in the rest of life where you really needed that sort of attention span. Can you read? This is one of the things I say a lot, bro. Can you read? Everyone's gonna say, yeah, sure. If you can read, you would read. You would consistently be reading books because it's one of the best things that you can do for your development. It's the single best way to become more successful is just to read more books. Simple as that. Do you read consistently? The majority of people don't. And I personally think it's because they simply can't read and actually take in the information. So what happens if you grabbed a book right now and I was testing you on this and you read a paragraph? Be totally honest. You read that paragraph, would you be able to remember most of what that paragraph said? Or would your brain, halfway through reading it, would your brain just make you think of something irrelevant because you've been training it to, like, you know, switch pieces of information every second with overstimulating content like TikTok? And when I said before about Jeffrey opening up 5 tabs on Pornhub, bro, that was me. And you know, worst of all, like, you know, just watching porn is bad enough. We know about the dangers of porn. It's a very bad thing for you. Very hyper-stimulating, so much dopamine, it kind of fries like the dopamine receptors of your brain and makes you be able to enjoy less of life, especially with having sex with like normal human beings. But when a normal porn video isn't good enough, like it wasn't for me, and you start opening multiple tabs, and then it's like, bro, the type of porn that I used to watch wasn't just, you know, like a porn video, like a normal one. It would be montages. Imagine your brain being so fucked up that just a porn video wasn't enough. Multiple videos wasn't enough, but it was multiple fucking montages, like this hyper stimulant edit where it was like edited to like the fucking beat of like some fucking techno music, and it would put you in like a fucking trance state where you'd be like jacking off your dick on beat. When you watch these videos, trust me when I say you are literally literally hearing the words of a guy who was a total fucking Jeffrey. And I like to think I've made some decent progress to becoming more like Adonis. I'm obviously not there yet. I lived that overstimulating life and my life was fucking trash. The only reason why I'm here today, because I didn't quit. Because I went through the education system, I went through university, I graduated with like a degree, but I didn't perform well. I was never able to pay attention in university. I had shitty jobs. And this is where it gets serious because we're not talking about like, you know, just like TikToks and stuff. Like, bro, I hated my fucking life. What overstimulation does, especially when you're like a teenager turning into a man and you enter like the real world and you get hit with that existential crisis when you're applying for jobs on Indeed, you know, that website Indeed.com. You're applying for these fucking jobs that you don't even want, but it's like, oh well, I need to do something with my life. Applying for these jobs which are like pretty much minimum wage, which I felt was like below me, but of course they weren't because I wasn't doing anything better with my life. The type of jobs where like customer service, complaints department, people are calling up, swearing at me, shouting at me. I'd literally be walking home from that crying. And that was not like a special thing that happened like infrequently. That would happen a lot. I remember this. I would take the tram home. So in Manchester, UK, there's like a tram line and you have to like walk to the tram. It takes like 15, 20 minutes to walk there. Then you're on the tram for like 20 minutes and there's always like crackheads and like people drinking and shit. And I had like PTSD because of racist shit that happened previously. So being on like trams and public transport around other people would get me like sweaty as fucking like anxious and everything. Get off the tram and there was like this one particular bit to the walk home to my apartment that it was just pitch black and you're supposed to use like the phone, you know, the light on your phone, the torch on your phone to like sort of see your steps. I hated my life so much that I wouldn't even turn the fucking light on. I don't know if that's like significant for anyone, but it's like not caring if I even fell over, not caring, you know, I was literally walking in pitch fucking black and I literally would walk with no light. Just what, for one, because I didn't even give a shit about myself, but two, because I didn't want people to see me cry on the way home that I fucking hated my life so much that I was working for minimum wage. I would come home by like 6:30, 7, hating my life so much that I would smoke weed for like 3 hours and then go to bed and then repeat it the next day. Because my job was bad enough, because I was like overstimulating myself for so long that I had to get this shitty job, that's where my burning desire came to get into like entrepreneurship and self-improvement. And I did research on this. I looked online and I started asking, okay, why can't I focus? Why can't I do the work by myself? I wanted to start making businesses and, you know, make online income and take a step back. This isn't like a fucking sales video. Oh, and this is why you can download. I'm not selling you anything here. I'm just saying, like, I wanted to make online income and I would see all these guys, like these productive young entrepreneurs who were rich and they were in Thailand and Bali and they were making so much money on their MacBooks. And I was always wondering, how the fuck can they focus and do work and I can't? I was an asshole to this guy, but there was a YouTuber who, he didn't start this movement, but his video really got this sort of like thing viral. It was in 2020, at the start of 2020. A YouTuber named Andrew Kirby made a video on dopamine detoxing. At the time, I didn't like this YouTuber. For some reason, I really hated him. I think it was with like jealousy or insecurity, and I made like videos against him. Me and him are somewhat okay now. We've like spoke to each other and everything. But he made this video on dopamine detoxing where he explained that this overstimulating content that we have, that, you know, we're just constantly getting like dopamine. This isn't like real sciencey shit, but it's just a nice way to explain, like, you know, we get dopamine from like the things that we do, like porn and video games, and like these modern day things give us too much dopamine, so it kind of like fries our ability to enjoy and bear through normal life. So previously, if you imagine humans like 100 years ago, they just had like newspapers, didn't they? That was like the source of information, like newspapers and maybe the radio or some shit. And so their attention spans had to be very high, because on a newspaper, you look at the same page for like what? 5 minutes, don't you? And then, okay, then you turn the page and then it's like, oh, okay, new source of information, let's read this for 5 minutes. But now it's like 1 second. So previously, 100 years ago, those people would have been able to just sit and literally just like enjoy themselves by doing nothing, just sitting and literally listening to the birds, just looking at the waves of the sea. We can't really do that anymore, can we? You're gonna be a little fucking Jeffrey right now. You're gonna say, nope, I can. But then I ask you, okay, be totally honest, you and also the people you know, your friends, how often do you see them totally without their phones? As in, their phone is literally meters, hundreds of meters away from them back at home. Because, yep, bro, I can sit here right now and I can like look at the pretty sights. But I'm telling you right now, my phone and my MacBook's close to me, and I'm gonna like within 5 seconds end up checking it for like more fucking dopamine on Discord. So when I make this video, also know that I'm still making progress in this as well. It is a lifelong journey to take a step back from this overstimulant content, because it's everywhere. It's fully taken over. This video by Andrew Kirby, dopamine detoxing, got me like into this idea of, okay, reduce the bad dopamines in my life. Video games, porn, junk food, drugs, social media, and replace them with the good dopamines. And again, that's total bro science. The good dopamines are kind of like exercise, meditation, journaling. My life transformed completely from that moment. I realized, you want to know the key to defeating overstimulation: meditation and dopamine detoxing. So dopamine detoxing is where you just stop or very drastically reduce the overstimulating content that you've got. So spend less time on TikTok, Instagram, spend less time on the internet, take more time away from like your screens, go outside without your phone. Meditation kind of has like the opposite effect on your brain to what TikTok and Instagram and porn has, which should get you fucking hype when you really think about, okay, we know about the negatives of like TikTok and, you know, modern social media and porn. If I've just told you that there is something that gives you the opposite effect of that, you should be thinking, oh shit, let me take this seriously. And meditation is that. It's time when you literally just spend in total focus as much as you can, just training your brain to be able to hold that focus on one particular thing. A lot of people meditate wrong with the wrong mindset, and they come to me and they say, well, I tried to meditate, but I couldn't clear my mind of thoughts. And that's not how it works at all. To be able to clear your mind of thoughts, you might need to practice meditation for like 10, 20 years and be a monk. That's like, you know, ultimate like level 100 meditation practitioner. Meditator. For us, we're like level 2 meditators. That means we're gonna get the rewards of someone who's got a low level in this meditation skill, which of course means we're not gonna be able to just fucking clear our mind of thoughts. We're not monks, we're not like enlightened. Really what it is we just manually focus. We focus on the breath, focus on it as best as you can. And then within a few seconds, your brain will wander. And when it wanders, you'll realize, oh, I'm deep in thought. I was thinking about high school or ass instead of my breath. That's absolutely fine. Don't hit yourself for it, because that's part of the process. Just simply bring your focus back to the breath again. Every time you bring your focus back to the breath, it's like one rep, one bicep curl for the brain. It's literally one repetition of defying overstimulation, because overstimulation can totally it's very fucking hot today, bro. Overstimulation can totally ruin your life. The worst part of overstimulation is the negative effects on your attention span, and then it causes that mind wandering. You know, when your thoughts are kind of irrelevant based on what's happening right now. So the thing which hurts me the most, and maybe you'll be able to relate, is when you're having a conversation with your mother. I have a conversation with my mum, and my brain will just think of something else. It'll think of business or women or my diet, and you know, we're in the kitchen and I'm thinking about my fitness pal and how many grams of protein I've had so far, and like here's the woman who's gave birth to me, here's a woman who loves me unconditionally, and I can't even focus on what she's saying to me. She's saying something to me and my brain is just elsewhere. That's so sad, because you know what? People notice. People truly notice. I've said before that one of the greatest things, like the rewards that I could get from this entire movement that we have, because this isn't just the normal YouTube channel. This isn't just like, you know, you watch this video and it's like, oh yeah, well, Hamza's kind of good. You kind of dedicate your life to this kind of this way of living, of holistic self-improvements. One of the things that makes me most proud and also excites me the most as like a reward of this work is the thought of meeting you, and you've been meditating for 6 months, a year beforehand. I'm very, very like fed up, and not to be insulting, but fed up of meeting people who don't meditate, meeting people who suffer from overstimulation. I don't feel good around them, even if they're like my loved ones, even if they're like my best friends, even if they're like, you know, people I love. I don't feel good around them because I can see that their brain isn't even focused on me. We're having a conversation, you can see it in their face that they're thinking about something else. That's no way to live. I hope to create this movement of young men who really take something like meditation seriously, who really take a big step back from like social media, and so we can live like in so much more presence and mindfulness. And so when we do come across each other, which honestly I know it seems like a bit like unrealistic, but it is the truth. Okay, I've met like a few hundred of the men who are in my cult. I travel very, very frequently, and I always post on like my Instagram, my YouTube posts and everything that I'm in this city, come and meet me. A bunch of guys will come out, we'll have like massive conversations, we'll all do like a workout together, and every time that happens, when I'm there in a big group of guys who meditate, who work out, who journal, bro, I've never experienced anything like it before. I don't think any of those guys have either. To be in a big group of guys who share the same mission, who share the same goals, who have been meditating, journaling, exercising, spending time in nature, taking a step back from modern technology, bro. We spend like 4 hours together, you know, hitting like a big workout, chilling, talking, taking pictures and everything. For those 4 hours, I'm in a total flow state. My brain doesn't think about anything because I'm with people who are also present. It's just totally, totally beautiful. And that's really my biggest motive. It's like kind of selfish, but you know, you get what I mean? It's like my biggest motive of like, you know, really, really get so many guys to meditate. It's because, bro, for my own selfish benefit, I want to have conversations with you if you've been meditating. Now that you've heard my motive, and you probably think, oh yeah, that sounds awesome. How about you have the same motive? How about you spread the same message of meditation and taking a step back from overstimulation, because your boys need to hear this. There is literally, let's say there's 5 people in your social circle, maybe there's even 50, 50 guys that you could speak to, you could send a message to, bro. I guarantee a couple of those guys, if you literally tried to like lead them onto holistic self-improvement, into our cult, into our movements, and got them to meditate, bro, a couple of those guys would take it seriously, and you would literally have like a friend who becomes even closer to you, who meditates long-term consistently. The amount of like fulfillment you would get from that, not only just for yourself, because it's so nice to have a conversation with someone who's present, but also for the sake of like being a leader and seeing someone that you've helped develop themselves and improve their life, bro. It's amazing. So how about you just implement the same motive inside of you and think, you know what, that's so right. Perhaps a small goal of mine, like a mission of mine, could be to get more men onto self-improvement, and especially meditation. Why don't you take like an actionable step right now? You want this video to really like change your life. Why don't you message a couple of friends right now, or even call them or message them, whatever you want to do, and just try and encourage them to start meditating. Just say to them, like, whatever his name is, Jack, I really think you'll resonate with this. I really think that you'll like this. And this isn't me, some like marketing tactic, or like, oh yeah, send them my video and I'll get more views. You don't even need to send them my video. You teach them in your words. Don't make me the teacher. Like, I've already taught you, which is fantastic. You become the teacher now. You become the leader now. I would love to see that. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.